You're listening to the Long Game Podcast with Sandra Scaiano. In a world where everyone is doing, it's easy to get lost in a sea of comparison, secret tricks, and promises of overnight success. The long game is my approach to business, the actual day in and day out philosophy that you have to show up, you have to do the work, and there's no quick fixes for long-term success. I'm a web designer, digital strategist, and energetic thinker, and I'm here to share the process and lessons I experience with my clients daily who are going through the same struggles of building a business as you are. We'll hear from successful entrepreneurs sharing their long game strategies, and I'm fun, so we're going to have a little fun along the way too. Thanks for being here. Let's get to today's episode. Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's summer. Summer's here. And I'm so excited. I'm feeling sunny. I'm feeling the warmth. And I'm really happy about it. Here in New Jersey, although we didn't have a cold, snowy winter, it was long and rainy and bone chilling. And it went long. So I'm happy to have the summer here now. And I hope you're feeling it as well. And it's the perfect time for us to think about the topic we're talking about today. The long game is rest. We've shown up. We've run Facebook ads. We've done live videos. We worked on our brand voice. We owned our story and we created activist art. I mean, it's a lot. It's always a lot. And once we're done, we keep going. And that's why the long game is also rest. If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. Banksy. This quote and stencil art was gifted to me by my business coach. And it was such a thoughtful gift, not just because I love street art, and she didn't even know that at the time, but it's a soulful reminder. It's the perfect sentiment for those of us on a path or a journey. Rest. Just the sound of it sounds so lovely. The entrepreneur world never stops moving. We have launches to prepare for and execute, communities to support, systems to implement, clients to work with. All of these to-dos, they're here and they're on heavy rotation. It's not like you just do this once and then it's a properly oiled machine. It takes work and it takes repetition. This concept of doing the work is one that I really try and impart on my clients the most. They see these success stories out there of laptop lifestyles and, social media perfection, working 3 days a week, etc. So I try and prep them that it's a lot of work to get there. With that, it's important to build in rest into your days. It seems so easy to start working all the time. It just kind of happens. Nobody plans on it. We all hop in because we're building something. We are the only ones in our business, so we work to get it all done. And we know this, that without a break, we can become irritable, unhappy, lose focus, eat healthy and feel like shit, and then turn to our vices more. I mean, basically, we lose our flow. And I talk about flow all the time. It's the concept of being relaxed in the work and super tuned in. Flow is smooth. Flow is focused. Flow is progress. Who doesn't want to flow? So rest, it's an important additive to the flow equation. Without it, there's buildup. There's a blockage or like a dam, so to speak. And rest, it can come as an infusion rather than just a rescue. It comes in so many shapes and forms, and it doesn't have to mean vacation. Although that's like a great option, some of the best rest is less extreme. It's closer to home, and it's just about clearing your mind regularly so that there's space for new ideas to come to you. Now, the entire world has just come off of forced rest in some ways. Being on lockdown for the pandemic, we stopped. But did we rest? I think we changed our daily lifestyles, but we also introduced a whole new set of stressors. So I see it more as a shuffle than a rest. So really, after all of that, we need rest even more. Some people equate rest to sleep, but I equate rest to something more active in general. Like rest doesn't mean I stop everything. Rest means I'm shifting my thoughts or my actions from work, and in this instance that we're talking about, to something else. So it's like a focused versus unfocused attention. And there's research to back it up. I've linked to an article from Time Magazine and the associated research in the show notes. And rest, or as the Time article references it, unfocused attention makes us more creative. This is why people have the best ideas in the shower. You're free to let your mind wander. My number one way to rest is to walk. I power walk my dog every day and sometimes more than once. I love hiking and walking through the city. Walking can be super restful, even if it's at a good clip. And I'm not talking about like, oh my God, I'm late for my appointment walking. That's a stressful piece. I'm talking about exercise walking or meandering walking, or I have time before my appointment walking. This is the type of rest that I make time for. It's a perfect mix of outside, being the observer in the world, and alone with my thoughts. In addition to my walks are listening to podcasts and audiobooks. This time I make for walking lets me cruise through an entire book on AirPods quicker than I'd get to chapter 4 in traditional reading. Having this stimulus, it's relaxing to me. It's the reading time, most people qualify as restful, but in audio mode. And during this time, I'll hear something and let my mind free flow thoughts from it. So I apply it to my own life. And with this, I can pause or rewind the recording and go back, if I'm off having my own thoughts about something. So I don't get so caught up in having to listen to every bit of it. It's funny because during the pandemic, when the kids started homeschooling, my daughter started coming on my morning walks with me. It's beautiful. We had time to chat, but it was also my rest time, my time that I had to find some other way to replace it. So rest is about restoring. Walking doesn't tire me out. It restores me. Akin to this, lately, as it's summer now, I've been resting by watering my yard. I've got big hydrangea bushes along the front of my house, and I've made a commitment to water the plants and lawn every day. It's a caretaking thing that allows me to take a break and to rest. This is another restful activity that it's not bound to time. So I can do it at noon, I can do it at 5 p.m. And sometimes I just like to hang out and water the plants. And other times I'll have my AirPods in and be listening to podcasts to stimulate my thoughts while I'm watering. Again, it's about taking a break from the work and that focused piece and doing something different. So I've mentioned podcasts a few times now, and they are my thing. They're another way that I actively rest. I've been listening since the early days, wait for it, on my iPod. So I'm loving that there's been this explosion in this genre, and I subscribe to podcasts across different categories. I listen to more podcasts than I watch TV, and podcasts have more content that I want to absorb, and they're so accessible. I listen to let my ideas flow. I get inspired from business and mindset podcasts, but when I really need a break from it all, I listen to food and lifestyle podcasts. So those are my take me away topics. Some of the best active rest comes from your hobbies. And I suppose my hobbies are walking and listening to podcasts, as I just spoke about. But those just seem so part of my daily lifestyle that I don't consider them hobbies. Do you guys have a hobby or more than one? Is there a creative or entertainment or sport outlet that you do? If so, hop onto the longgamepodcast.net, click the red Speak to Me button, and leave me an audio message about what you do for a hobby or rest. I just may play your message on a future episode. So my hobby is photography and art then. If I consider the other stuff my lifestyle, my hobbies are creating and taking photographs and taking in art. I love to view that. So that to me is rest, but thought-provoking and engaging. Viewing art can take you from the world that you're in and transport you to another time with different attention to detail. And practicing art, for me, creating art through photography, that just fills me up in ways of pure enjoyment. So that is rest, to connect thoughts and the idea that you were seeing with those in your head or thoughts even that you had recently. Seeing art and concepts and ideas with no agenda, they can inspire your own ideas, your own insights, and your own solutions. Rest is something that at times you can and you must plan for, but sometimes rest just beckons. You may have a space in your day and, just seize that time with daydreaming, or my personal favorite impromptu restful activity, gazing at my dog and thinking about what a great life she has. There are times when complete just being is the rest that we need. And this is the non-active stuff that, lets our minds relax too. And we all know that the biggest rest is sleep. Are you getting enough? Are you sleeping through the night? Are you taking naps? I've never been a napper. And I have to say that I've heard so much about napping during the pandemic lockdown, and more power to those people. But it's really indicative of how stressful that time period was for us. Sleep isn't something that Americans value. We value work more than sleep, in the big picture of things. We may in our mind value sleep, but in our actions, we value work. It's in noticing these tendencies in ourselves where we can create a shift for the rest in our days. Like, I'm a night bird, so I can be found typing away long after dark. But once a week or so, I make an effort to go to bed by 9 p.m. Like, I shut it all down and I physically recharge through sleep. The last point I want to make about rest is that it's something you integrate into your life every day, rather than when you can't really take it anymore. Frequent rest and unfocused attention, it allows for you to deal on the daily so much better, hopefully thwarting the emotional implosion of you can't take it anymore. This type of active rest has been something that I've been doing forever. It's been a creative practice for me, and it took me a long time to realize that my walk or my art show is another woman's massage or manicure. So for whatever it is that you do for yourself, that is your rest. And we're seeing that rest is so much more than just sleep. It's about recharging, energizing, being creative, and letting yourself be in a state of flow. How do you add rest into your life? How much do you add? I'm hoping to cause you to think about it. Thanks for joining me today. You can access more info in the show notes at thelonggamepodcast.net. If today's show connected with you in some way, please share it with your friends or hop on iTunes and leave me a review. Until next time, keep playing the long game.